by great individuals. When we see the most phenomenal transformations of history, they come as a consequence of large numbers of people embracing a collective vision. It is possible to be critical and at the same time to recognize there is something that we have to hold on to if we want to imagine a future in which the needs of human beings are attended to, a future in which capitalism doesn't destroy this planet.
This is a effort on my part to come to Wilmington, Delaware. And Wilmington is an important part of my life because Wilmington was one of the district court cases that led up to Brown versus the Board of Education.
A lot of people paid a price. They're probably emotionally scarred. Every now and then you wake up in the middle of the night, you want to fight somebody. But all that was done because you believed you were making a better path for the next generation.
Welcome to part 3 of our Living Legends series. And so I'm not going to stand up here and bore you. So I would like to introduce, we have 2 lovely ladies here. We have life coach Tanya Baines. You got to come up to the stage. And we have the living legend herself. Why don't we get up to our feet and give her a warm Wilmington welcome, Miss Pam Grier.
This is wonderful to be here to share my narrative. Doctor. I ironed clothes, cut grass, and babysat for years for my first year to go to school. And something happened in our family with Vietnam, the whole mess, everything. So, I guess my psychology professor at Metro State in Denver, and I used to take 3 buses to get there, and I had 3 jobs. And
y'all hear that? Any kids out there? You hear that? She had 3 jobs. Took 3 buses to make her dreams happen.
And my family stock is from the Black West Wyoming. And my great grandmother had a sugar beet farm for as a single mom for her family and a hotel for the blacks and Chinese, a la Blazing Saddles. I gave that information to Richard Pryor when he was co-writing Blazing Saddles. And he was able to add a narrative, you know, of some authenticity, if you will. So that's how far my family goes back, you know. But what I wanted to say before we start is I have some lovely friends that have been very supportive of my ideal of continuing the literature, the book, reading the book, the knowledge, what we get from books, whether it's escapism, history, fiction, nonfiction, politics, whatever. I was some tumors on my thyroid about, I guess it was 2011, 2012. And my endocrinologist was across the street from the VA in Denver. All my family goes to the VA. You know, we sit for hours with paperwork. Take all my uncle in the car, the station wagon, we send the paperwork, you know, get them in. So I had been there before with my family, and I asked a couple of vets sitting outside in the sun, like paper, trying to read. And I says, "How you doing? Oh, you're Coffy Brown. You know, you know." I said, "Yeah, you from here?" I said, "I am. You probably know all my uncles and cousins and everybody. My family goes way back." I said, "So you're out here? How long you been out?" I said, "I've been 2 hours, and I don't care." You know, I said, "I am so sorry we treat our vets that way. We really need to rethink that." And so I said, "Well, what is it you want?" Some were sharing sandwiches, you know, some were they hadn't eaten. And I said, "What would you?" And the first thing that I would say 5 men, and then they started to put their hands up. And they said, "You know what? I'd like to read a book." But we can't read a book because we can't hold a book. Or they don't have hands. Or they can't see. They have impairment, vision impairment. And for over 15 years, I co-founded a therapeutic writing program with my rescued horses. And I learned about different abilities, not disadvantage. You'll learn how to do a whole lot with one hand. And I said, "You don't think about that." I said, "What about the volunteers?" "Well, there's not enough volunteers. And there's even less. And all of us are here because of our vets." So I said, "Okay, I need to rethink this." So I went and I talked to a volunteer who would help some of my family. I said, "How can we do this? How can we get books?" He said, "Well, there's 3 men to a room. Some of them live here. They don't have books. They don't have volunteers." It's just, and they might drop the book, take it, keep it, burn it, or whatever. I don't know. So my publisher, Grand Central Publishing, that published Foxy, My Life in 3 Acts, did such a fantastic job that it came on the New York Times bestseller list at number 20. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Every book signing was for 2 years at 12 signings a weekend for 2 years. Almost killed me. Wow. It was, but you know what? I asked, okay, there was Borders. It was going out of business, but they managed to sell millions of books. Barnes & Noble. But I said, what primary I want you to do is reach out to the community bookstore and give them 600, 700 books to sell in every small community across the country. Many of the bookstores, they thrive off of, on Sunday, it's a church, and they teach during summer literature and languages to children for free in the summer. So these community bookstores are grounded for us. And they're like temples to me. And so with my publisher, and I had done a animated project for J.J.R. Martin, Mr. Game of Thrones himself. Yeah, he's a wild man. And I know when he saw me in the restaurant, he said, "Ooh, her." I said, "No." You know, but I will ride my horses through the mud and, you know, with rags on and fur and stuff covered in mud and
Yeah,
decapitate.
I have a question about that. I have a
people.
question about that coming up.
Decapitate.
Yeah.
So, but I asked his publisher, Putnam, do you have any extra audio books sitting around? And I asked Grand Central, which is Little Brown, and James Patterson has a whole floor in the office. And they said, yeah, we have quite a few. I said, here's what I do. Can we send to every VA hospital that's in our locale, to the VA hospitals, so that 3 patients in a room can listen to a book with either earbuds or a microphone or a headphone, 30 in a room with a CD player playing. And many of the VA hospitals have a library. So someone can take an audio book home and bring it back, because they're expensive. They're like $10, $15. But you'd be surprised what a difference it made in a lot of people's lives, especially our vets, to know that they can keep up on new books, and all of them like war. You know how men are, Lee Childs, cow. But they like history and the fact that someone thought of them. So every Thanksgiving on Twitter since 2015, I ask everyone to send audiobooks to their local VA hospital.
That's
and volunteers
wonderful.
To support.
That is wonderful. Thank you. And I love that story because it brings everything back full circle here, right? So you're here, you love books, and we're at the library. The library is giving us this gift of the Living Legends
Absolutely.
series, and we're sitting here with Dr. Pam Grier. Thank you for that. I
have to. I couldn't come here if I didn't do that, because
Absolutely.
I've been given so much. There's so much abundance in my life.
Yeah.
So I share, what I have.
Thank you.
And because I get it, the foxiness from all of you.
Yes. Yes.
I'm blaming y'all. Okay, don't put that on me. Okay, but also we all are so vastly different in our wonderful culture and our cultural mixes. We're just evolving into, and maybe it took the pandemic, to make everybody step back, take a few steps back, move forward to get, okay, we got a lot of waste here, and many times I have gone to my closet and just cleared it out of clothing and shoes and taken it, to a shelter or some place, or whether it's dogs or horses or something. It's just how I was raised to serve, but to give what we had. And my mom in Denver, and Jamar, where you at? There he is. He from Denver. He from Big D. And he said, I dated one of his friends. His friend was rich. I was poor. He wouldn't look at me. I didn't have a car. I took the bus, the 35 and 3 transfers, and I had to walk. But I used to ride. Hey, Jamar, did you know I used to ride? I told you, I used to ride my bike to school. In high school, we didn't have transportation. And sometimes it was too cold, and I saved money by riding my bike. That's why I became so athletic. Riding my bike to school. Don't do it. Don't do it now.
So, Dr. Grier, I have a list of words to describe you, and I'm going to add advocate to that.
Blame her. I told you.
Yeah, blame me. That's right. Icon. Legend.
Go ahead, Mom.
Superstar. Badass. First female action hero. Now, hold on. Not the first black female action hero, but the first female action hero. So if you see Pam's movie from back in the day, she didn't have no stunt actor.
I have the injuries on the toilet. She did not only broken it. Anything that came from doing the dishes.
Do you agree with those terms? How do you feel about those words?
They are true. They are true, because everyone used to say, Tammy, take the tap shoes off. I'm running through the house. Keeping everybody up, jumping fences, running track, riding my bike to school, or just being. But we were also sent to the farm in the summers, where, you know, that was like the tough love, and many of our families, you go to grandpa, and bring it into the farm before they can clean it up. And
like some of us had to go down south for the summer.
we still, yes, we still do it. Even more so, they're hanging on to the acreage. If you know, there's a Noir Farmer magazine that you can look at and see where the farmers are creating co-ops of organic food, so you can have farmers markets in all the communities, you know, with fresh picked that morning within, you know, 30 miles, which is fresh produce, not toxic, and you pay, and it's gone by noon. And if you even taste a fresh picked carrot, it melts in your mouth. Pick that morning. And I was telling Big Carl, a few people about my collard green martini. Yeah, baby. I heard a laughing out there.
That's right.
Okay. The pot liquor in the bottom of
I might want to get a pen and paper and write this down.
The collard green. Whether it's pork, smoke, you know, well, it could be bacon, it could be smoked turkey leg.
Smoked turkey, okay.
It could be anything, but it flavors the collard green with some pepper and vinegar and brown sugar, you know, stuff like everybody getting hungry. So we gonna and then you eat the greens out, and then the liquor in the bottom is gold. I put that on Twitter. And they tried to rob my house. They wanted the kitchen. They didn't care about nothing else.
Well, isn't collard green a superfood? So now you got a
it is a
superfood
superfood.
martini. It's
now
a win-win.
you have all the minerals, and all you do is add the regular vodka. No gin, because gin and Indians don't mix. Okay? I can't say the F word, but gin, AF, is very, very powerful. And add your vermouth. And over ice, and then it's smoky looking, and then you take either a roll of bacon if you want, or pickled okra, and a roasted cherry tomato, and put on a toothpick, and that's your martini. And
Pam, you need a show. You need a cooking show, so we can.
I can't do more. No more. I'm doing 6 movies, 2 books, and I'm just finished a World War II movie, and then I've got Foxy being, you know, produced, my autobiography by Disney, and I've just finished Pet Cemetery that's coming out.
Wow.
And I've got another one. I've got 4 more coming out, and I'm directing more. I'm just taking.
All right now.
I'm taking my old ass off the streets. Okay. Because you young men, I'm telling you, they said, oh, you know, everybody want a younger man. I said, I know. I know, but I cannot tell you, when you come to my house, you got to love dirt and hair, dog hair, and my horses, and family, because I continue the therapeutic writing program. So there are people that come traumatized, a lot of PTSD, people from accidents, trauma, war. That was unbelievable. The amount of people coming who need service dogs. There's a wait list of over 300,000 people that need service dogs for hearing impaired, seizure response, you name it. And so we try to rescue the Humane Society, ASPCA, and Subaru, wherever my peeps are. We rescue as many animals as possible through Pilots and Paws, and through Dining Out for Life. We raise funds every year for all the restaurants, and we raise about $4 million to serve people living with AIDS and education all across the country. Thank you, Subaru. You know, Subaru loves, shares everything. They're just amazing. They've been my corporate sponsor. And if I didn't do it right, they would have kicked me to the curb. So I'm still trying to do something right. Well, they gave me an extra car for my therapeutic writing program, because when you have a different abled child in the family, that can break you financially, emotionally, and physically. Break families. So we had people who just could not take a child when they had 3 doing homework at the table, and that child services would come and get them if you abandon them. Pick up or take a child who needs, you know, some therapy. So I asked Subaru, would they please give us another car? And here's why. We can pick up these children and adults so that the family isn't broken up. Otherwise, it's going to continue to create hardship and depression. And we want the family to uplift. That's what we're here to do. Keep them together. And that's hard. And children's service, they ain't playing. So when you see a family struggling like that, racist, colors, economic, everything, it was shocking. So we got a car. They gave us another car to pick up and take home the clients.
Pam, where does this love of service come from? You're thanking Subaru, but I thank you because you're out here advocating for all the underdogs. And so where does this come from? In your childhood, in your life, where does this love of service come from?
See Rosa
passion
Parks?
for
See
service.
Rosa Parks? There's a whole bunch of Rosa Parks. My mom was one. In Foxy, we couldn't catch a bus. It wouldn't stop for us. We would have groceries, and my mom and my brother and I would have to go to shade tree to tree because the bus wouldn't stop. Until one man at the end of his run turned around, came back, and picked us up. And he wouldn't look my mom in the eye. He just opened the door and looked forward. And we came up the steps. My mom, she thought she'd put her hand on his shoulder and say thank you. And he didn't look at her. And her power was, thank you anyway. And she put her hand on his shoulder saying, thank you. Hope you don't get fired. Thank you for coming back and pick us up. It was hot. The food was wilting. We were hot, covered in... It's just those little jewels that stick with all of us.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
It sticks with us.
Absolutely.
And then I was telling a friend who was complaining. I said, about what? We don't wake up in a dirt hut and have to go down a mile to fetch water and forage for roots and porridge and make porridge in a hut and burn sticks for a firewood to feed our family. Water doesn't come out of the faucet, okay? It comes out of the clouds. And if we keep heating our environment up with emissions from ICEs, y'all know what an ICE, an internal combustion engine, is?
They know now.
Okay? Okay, it worked back in the 20s, in 1920 and 1999, back then when gasoline and diesel. But today, if we don't have clouds, we don't have water. You can drink water, but you can't drink oil. Make up your mind now.
Make up your mind.
We have to.
Yeah.
And when I go to places and I see people struggling, I just... So my friend, they said he needed a water heater. He hadn't had a shower. I said, okay, you're going to get a water heater. He said, no, I said, shut up. I know you're a man and you want your water heater, 48 payments from Home Depot. Oh, I know that. I call it Home Depot because they know me by name. So I go there and I sent over my plumber and a water heater for this man and shocked him. I said, why not? Okay. And then the people that were coming to take care of my horses so I could come to work and come here had bald tires, and they were driving from Colorado Springs, and he had retired, a sheriff, a Republican, very nice man, family respect, loved me. And when I said, why are you driving up here with bald tires? He said, oh, shit. I might have to. Miss Pam. And I don't know why, but when I get called Miss Pam, I've arrived, okay? And they took care of me like family, brought me food, took care of my house, anything, dug ditches, whatever. And I bought him just 4 new tires, big Yokohamas, y'all. You know, good tires, big off-road, badass tires, badassery tires. And he was so moved. And then after that, his posture about who he was voting for changed. And he started reading more and said, there's a whole new world out there I didn't know about. And I had left, they'd seen some of my newspapers and stuff. And so just little acts of, not random, it's just gratitude. And they check on me more than my family. Miss Pam, how you doing? What you doing? Can we come, you know? And it wasn't solicited. It was just like, no, you need tires to do a good job well. You know. And what they do is they do it well. And they made sure I could work for 5 years, taking care of my horses, my property. The fence go down. You got to spray WD-40 in the joint so it doesn't freeze. Like, you know, yeah, but y'all 70 degrees here. I should stay. I don't even want to go home. -5?
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, so it's just things like that. So little encounters every day with people you meet on the street. You make their day saying, hey, how are you? Having a good day?
Yeah, just a simple hello.
I don't care if you don't say anything. I don't say, all I know is you heard my voice and I cared for you.
Absolutely.
And that's really where I get it from. But I also get it from generations of church. Hey, Jamar, I used to go to every church in Denver for the chicken dinner. I saw you there at the chicken dinner. Yeah, we go over to Shorter, then Macedonia, then Scots. Yeah, I sang in the choir, and in my choir is half of Earth, Wind, and Fire: Philip Bailey, Andrew Woodfork, and Larry Dunn.
Now, see, hold on, stop right
Hold on.
Right. So, when I was looking at interviews and reading your book, I said, this woman reminds me of Forrest Gump. You are always in the right place at the right time.
I know, girl.
You're always, having
But at the mall, when that lady claimed I had cheated with her husband and she was coming after me with a knife, I said,
maybe not that
me.
time. Maybe not
That's
that
not
time.
me.
Maybe
No,
not
he
that
had told her that he had a girlfriend and her name was Pam Grier. I said, girl, he punked you, okay?
You said, do you know how many men tell their girlfriends that?
No, I just said, I don't know your husband. I've never been here before. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. And I sat her down. I said, okay, mommy.
Yeah.
Mommy, we need to talk about this, okay? Because it wasn't me. I did not have an affair. No pesos with your husband, okay? And
so that may not have been on you, right? But so I read.
But sometimes you got to take in the flock and say, hey, okay? Hey, I wish love lasts forever. Love breaks your heart. It just doesn't last. If you get a little here, a little there, and it never stops, I'm good. But I don't want to break my vow and say, I'll love you forever. That could be next week. You know how folks are. Come on now. Look, we got it just testifying over here. But I want to be in such a place that my truth is valued. All of you are now, every one of you are my friend. Yes. You can say and go and feel every one of you been anointed. Hey.
Thank you.
Can't get enough of that funky stuff. Hey. But what I'm saying is when you see the hostility and the divisiveness and people feeling so, there's a reaction from mask. There's a reaction from so much and it's negative, and I go, wow, I can't change them. I wish I could talk to them, but they're in such a position, they've been indoctrinated. It is like hypnosis or mantra chanting or, but there is something that people want to vent. And it can come out at any time when it's not addressed when it happens with all of us. Something that, let's sit down and talk about this. How can we, because say I get a boyfriend who's younger, and I say, okay, so you're 60, you come up 5, okay? I'm 70. I'm gonna be 73. Okay, I'm gonna be 73.
Woo! You look good, girl.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll come down 5. But then all of a sudden these 48 youngins come. I say, okay, now, okay. And then we have the Black Ski Summit with 7 million members show up, and we out there skiing and having these slumber parties. Ooh, Lord. And I'm out there, shredding. I'm the Shred Betty with my nephews bumping, and skiing and doing helicopters and stuff, saying, she crazy. And they say, well, what you want? I said, just life. I said, I had cancer 3 times, and if I wake up breathing, I'm going to have a good time, okay?
That's right.
And how many of my friends have had prostate cancer in their mid-40s? And it's scary. What did they drink? What did they wake up to? And as I acknowledge in this house, every time I do a job, I could buy a Lambo for $300,000. Lamborghini. Some people have 10 of them at their houses. I'd rather buy some houses and get rid of the lead paint and the lead pipes and in Detroit and here in the suburbs, that's holy ground. They build beautiful homes today that are under $100,000, and you can have 3, 4, 5 family members put together and build a house on some land that's the county would give it to you free. The utilities are there, but even the county said, okay, so the poison lead pipes stop here, then you clean up and do here. I watched this old house for 15 years. Bob Vila is my best friend, okay? David Letterman had him come on the show with me. That was my hero. And then Property Brothers. Now it's Barnwood Builders. I go all the way back to the log cabin. And then it's every show. When they taught my mom and us how to take care of the house when my mom was a single mom and all my uncles came back in boxes, there was nobody to do that. So when we went to Ace Hardware Store, True Value, there wasn't a Home Depot or Lowe's then. We went in the door and lost our minds because there was the adventure of building and architecture. And I'm still fascinated by it. How do women who are going to be berated for cutting their lawns? My mom was berated for being in the yard cutting her grass, trying to keep her yard neat and teach her kids. And she just said, I don't care. I'm going to keep my house. And then men started to get, well, I don't have any arms, honey. Can you do it? It's good. Yeah, baby, I can do it. You just sit there. And you saw partnership. And that's where we are today. In a partnership, a friendship, a partnership, reaching out with what we've learned and have, and uplifting each other. And you don't have to ask for anything. It's going to come back. Y'all are meant to be. I was meant to be here for you. And let me tell you, my workload, I write, I'll go to sleep at 8 p.m. I used to stay up and watch, everybody. And I said, and that doctor said, not if you want to be successful, you don't do that. So I go to bed at 8, sleep past 12, get up at 3 and 4. I'd be tweeting early in the morning. And they say, hey, Pam, if you don't get off that damn computer. And I finish writing because 100 people work when I work. Whenever I finish a job, people work. And they're waiting. And they support me. And that's a part of that. It's not what I give or get, it's what we give and get and take and learn from it. And it's not wasted. It is not wasted. They have taught me so much about everything. The Teamsters, when I had 2 people in hospice and I was doing Bless This Mess on ABC, I was supposed to be doing a comedy. And I got hospice going on. And you can't, they won't let you have hospice if you have carpeting in your house because of the fluids. So you got to pay to take your dying loved one, someplace and pay. Maybe they'll take care of it. But if not, you have it at home. And if you have carpeting, you better rip it out and put in linoleum. And so I had that done. And then I was flying back and forth at all hours of the night. And I'd order, thank God you millennials, you little whippersnappers, DoorDash, Grubhub, are you kidding me? I was ordering lunch and dinner for nurses and my mom from Los Angeles for 2.5 years. Order full meals for them. And it was more cost effective than cooking at home because you have to drive to the store, fight everybody at the A&P, fight everybody. And then you can go shopping for another hour, stand in line for another hour. Then you take it home and you store it for another hour. And then Mom, what you want? Oh, I want meatloaf, honey, and some rice and green beans. Okay, we got that. Okay. And doctor said no salt. You better put some salt in it before I stab you. So I cook. Now you cook, and then you got to clean up. How many Thanksgiving kills you? You got to take out insurance before you cook Thanksgiving dinner nowadays. Am I telling the truth? And then you have a husband. I swear to God, I wear that lingerie for you if you do the dishes. Baby, the pink frilly one with the feathers. And you can wear them shoes if you want to, sweetie. Today's, I'm like, okay, dating has changed. I have to get used to this. And so I used to do this for my mom before I started the series. It's hard. I tried to find caterers. My mom said, well, you know, baby, I don't make friends easily. I said, I know, Mom. Are you proud of it? Well, you don't put salt in the food. I said, Mom, the doctor said it'll kill you. Okay, just put salt, let her legs swell up, her head, her hands. I don't care anymore. I just get. So I would make the food, drive 100 miles into town with 5 entrees, green beans, casseroles, macaroni, cheese, mac. She don't want just a Kraft mac and cheese. She want 4 cheeses in that mac and cheese.
Don't nobody
She want
that.
blue cheese.
That's
she
right.
want white cheddar.
That's
she
right.
want Parmesan. I said, where did you learn Parmesan from? Watching the damn kitchen shows. And so I'll be coming from work tired, and I'm doing all this cooking, and then the dishes will stay. I'm telling you, when I say get out the house to keep from doing the dishes will be there a whole week. You know, until somebody comes over, Pam, we got to help you, Mommy. Okay, yes, I know it's Miss Gwinnett, yes. So I take the food. No, I don't want meatloaf now. Okay, what about the rice? Hey, Mom, I got you covered. Here's fried chicken. I drove through any place that's open for chicken. I would have my car filled with food for her because I know she's going to change her mind by the time I get there. And she's 93. But you know, she doesn't know when she's saying something, and it's hard. And I said, I love you, Mom, but it's really hard. And then you won't eat it. I can't throw away the food. We don't throw away food in our family. We'll freeze it, take it to church, take it to school, take it to the jail, take it to the mission. That food is not going to waste. Nope. And I said, just keep the pot, keep the pan. And you know they will clean that pan up and someone will deliver it all the way to my ranch, 200 miles out the city. Wow. For grateful. Wow. And that I would do it again. Wow. But yeah. My mom, so I said, okay, Mom, I love you. You know, I'm just going to have, what's your favorite restaurants? Outback, okay. Papa Do's. Red Lobster. Mom, Sizzlers is closed. Sizzlers has been closed, okay. Okay, there's no more Sizzlers. We used to go to Sizzler on Sunday, and all the relatives would find out, would come over from all time. There'd be 50 people coming in to Sizzler. I'm her uncle, I'm her aunt, and I would pay for them too. Sizzlers, just here's my card, you know, here's all these people really. Anybody else want to just show up, fine, I'll pay. And so I didn't frustrate myself. I just thanked the millennials who started the delivery service, which has given people jobs. Yeah, there's a company in New Mexico and in Colorado called Fetch.com, and it started in Boulder. And all the drivers are people who are now making a great living just delivering. Mm-hmm. And their cars are Teslas. Okay? And they got jobs, and they're happy. And it is able for people to have their dietary, needs met, jobs or a new job opportunity. Absolutely. All of it. And my mom works them, let me tell you. She's giving them, their children are going to college on my mama. And
so what I think the moral of that story is to take care of your mama, right? And I want to say that because my children are sitting here in the front row. So Pam Grier says, take care of your mama.
Because they will come back to your house. They will come back to your house.
That's right.
But for them, we all are a miracle of conception, a real miracle. And I think our greatest asset, we're supposed to be keepers of the earth. And for generations, who knows what this is going to be another 400 or 500 years from now, but they can look back on us and say, we save water, we save grass and the animals.
Yes.
So
Pam, how do you want to be remembered?
Let me see. How do I want to be remembered? Half of you are giggling because you saw me in Foxy Brown topless and took their sons 3-4 times and ain't been right since, son. So don't tell your mama. But mama's on the other side of the theater saying, that's how I want to look. All right. But it was learning that the gender differences were really important to me because, like I was saying to the organizing board and committee, to have a female ask questions from a female point of view and from a male point of view. They're vastly different. and I don't try to mash everyone together. Really different. That's a part of my next PhD, my next doctorate, gender difference, because 80% of the minimum wage workers are female with children. And in certain states, they have raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. New Mexico and Colorado, and for cooks and chefs, it's 23 to 25. So if you have experience, a lot of people are migrating to other places where there is no argument about minimum wage.
Right.
And there's no housing. And a lot of the buildings that are empty, and I'm an influencer.
Yes.
And a lot of the buildings that have lost their employees, because people are at home working, writing off those, their work hours, those empty offices aren't being leased out by corporations. They're being turned into living quarters, condos, and living facilities. So it's not wasted, and the building, the people that own the building will still get money, and people still have work cleaning and taking care of them, but they're now being housing because we're running out of housing. There's just houses everywhere. And they're not building them fast enough. And the ones in Colorado that they're building, they come with solar. The house comes with solar on top.
Fantastic.
So that it comes, you don't have to pay electric bill. So you can put that money in other places. So that should be a norm. We need the sun. It's energy. It's energy.
Yes,
and
it
you
should
need,
be.
I have to have solar.
We're running a little short of time. I don't want to be sued and be in breach of contract. I don't have time to be in court. So
anyway, they know what I will be remembered as.
All right.
I'm an idealist, influencer who's connected to all of you in all of our different communities. And that I hope we continue to uplift one another and recognize our gifts that we have. Each and every one of you are so valuable. Look at Jamar. He's dressed up and told me, yeah, you dated one of my friends. Oh, no, I didn't. They were rich. But the fact that he reached out to me and wanted me to come and share my experiences with you. Because you wouldn't know, but I may have inspired someone, many of you, to go, I can do things, deliver food, drive, take care of family. There's so many things that are, and you're going to get old.
Huh?
You're going to get old. You're going to age, and hopefully you don't have the illnesses. Hopefully we'll have the experiences to share and stay strong. And it's not hard. It really isn't. It's love. If you wake up with that attitude, I'm telling you, your whole day is going to be right. Yes. Create your routine of success. You drink your water first thing in the morning, that's success. The rest of your day is going to be successful. So remember to do that. Even when you study, you read a book. It ain't hard. It's interesting. I'm fascinated.
You are fascinating.
No,
That's
I'm
right.
not.
No, yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Grier?
No one has any questions. I just answered it all. I knew it was coming.
Ms. Griffith, you said that you had no stunt people. All the running and jumping you were doing. One time you were running across a freeway.
Yes, in Coffy. And they painted my cast to look like a boot, and they glued the laces to look like it. And I was limping. I limped a little.
Yeah, you did limp.
We couldn't do weed then, so if we could have, but back home, my family used to bring it down from Wyoming. And Jackson Hole, they used to bring back sage. I thought it was oregano until I went to a party at UCLA. I said, who's cooking oregano? They said, oh, no, that's reefer. Oh, okay. Okay, but it smells like oregano to me. And but back in the day, they made it out of teas and poultice. Mint, oregano oil, sage oil, and cannabis oil was the elixir for everything. That was an indigenous medical therapies. And only did the modern pharmaceuticals in other countries said, that's against the law. We need to make money off of this. Why should people who live in farms, they didn't go to a drugstore. There weren't any. they mixed teas and poultices not only for their animals and for their teeth and their children. That was it. All races. And that's how people who, from the ground up, healed themselves. There wasn't no Kaopectic and no pink Pepto-Bismol.
No.
They ain't gonna drink nothing pink. I don't drink anything pink.
Mr. Detroit.
Yes, hello, my name is Portrayal Jr.
How you doing there? Thank you for the bump.
I've been a fan all my life. I'm really from Detroit. I also write and produce
Detroit.
music. And here in Delaware, I have a clone line called Andre Veneer. Also, I write screenplays. Yeah, okay, the question is that I want to know, was it hard for you to do your own stunts?
Was it hard for you to do your own
Was
stunts?
it hard for you to do your own stunts?
Well, no. I enjoyed the stunts because Bob Miner, the first black stunt man in Hollywood who trained everyone, was teaching me how to do stunts right, and they knew that I had studied martial arts on the air bases in Europe and across this country. And people don't know, they get it confused, but karate and kung fu are two different forms. And they always say that I did karate, and I did some, and in Foxy, the dance opening, I did some karate moves, but they had taught me Qigong, White Tiger, and Kung Fu, which is a different form for women. You don't get bone bruises as much. It's very difficult for a woman to take on a man hand-to-hand combat because of his musculature and the density of a man's bones. So you have to be very crafty and know how to fight a man, form with a man. And so basically you want to, go for the thorax or the eyes. Don't even, they know you're going to kick them in the nuts, so they ready for that, okay? And they're going to grab your foot and try to flip you over. I fake them out, boom! And then they go back, and then I run, because I ran track. I get the AF out of there.
That's right.
Are you kidding me? I'm not going to stand there and wait for him to get up. He's going to be really mad and humiliated more when his homeboys saw him go down.
What's your question over here, my friend?
Hi, first, thank you so much for coming tonight. It's a treat. Just curious, what was it like working with Quentin Tarantino and making Jackie Brown?
Yeah.
It was brilliant. He wrote it for me, and I want to tell you, you're going to get mad at me when I tell you this story. He had sent me the script. I was with a friend, Warrington Hudlin. We were driving down the street. He said, Quentin's going to write a movie for us. I said, how you know? I don't know. So I thought he was lying. He was just trying to get some, So I was like, how you know that? He says, so I said, really? So he said, and there's Quentin on the street. Forrest Gump. Forrest is on the street.
Told you.
There is Quentin on the street, barefoot in some shorts and a tank top, macking to a blonde. Okay? And I'm going, that's Quentin Tarantino? Really? Why is he barefoot in the street? I said, you lie. You just want some. You ain't getting them now. So he said, no, come on over, Pam, come on. So he comes over to the car. And I'm driving, and he says, hey, Pam, you Pam Grier. He talks really fast. He says, yeah, I'm writing a movie for it. I said, you lie. You want some too? You ain't getting any. Y'all stop. Just stop it. And he said, no, really, I'm writing it. It's based on Elmer Leonard Rum Punch book about, and I'm finish it and send it to you. And I said, okay. And it hit me in my heart. I was really moved. I said, you're going to write something for me? He says, yeah, you're the first action actress. You bring culture to, you bring music. I was like, stop. It's too much, And I said, okay, well, when I get it, thank you. And it shows up. There's a notice from the post office that there is an envelope for me waiting at the post office with 44 cents due. It had been there a week. And it said QT Tarantino. Oh my God. I went there, I gave him the 40. Why don't you just leave a note? I put it, ain't no honor anymore. It's like, here's the 44 cents. Okay. So I get it, I read it in a car, I read it home. I'm like, oh my. I was so moved. It was the script, Jackie Brown. And with my stupid ass, I read it. And I thought the role for me was the role of Melody. you know, the pothead, sexy, so I could. And they said, no, the role is Jackie Brown. And he felt so disappointed. And I said, you wrote that for me? And he said, yeah. And he hit me in the head again, saying, and Robert De Niro's going to be in it, and Sam Jackson, and Michael Keaton. And I said, who is this? This is Ashton Kutcher. Are you punking me? What's going on here? Who is this? My agent? What? He says, no. And we're going to start in 10 weeks, and I need rehearsal. And a lot of people don't rehearse with me, so they don't get to work with me. That's why a lot of people don't work with him, because he demands rehearsal. He wants you to, what can you give me? What can I add that you're going to give me? They don't realize that he's writing for them. That's how arrogant some people are. Okay, it's crazy. Anyway, he kept his word and more. And I was so to work with him. He plays music on the set. Everybody is fed. He takes care of everybody. I shadowed him as a director so I could hone my craft from him and Scorsese and Coppola and Woody Allen. If you see Annie Hall, his best work, he holds the camera outside of the kitchen and lets them go back and forth. So he doesn't have to have a master and a close-up and a pickup and a pickup and a pickup and a pickup. He saves budgets. He just is a master craftsman. And that's what any of you who are going to be photographers, filmmakers, whether it's documentaries, you can make a documentary and, like Kobe Bryant, and get an Oscar, okay? Just write something about something you know about, feel about, you're going to cry about. And if you're writing it and you're crying, you're going to win something. And you can get a sale. You can get a sale from a film festival where someone will buy it to show in theaters. You can make money off of documentaries and 15-minute shorts as film students, or any of you with something that you want to film, tell a story about. And so I said, Quentin, I didn't have anything else to do. My college money was gone. My barrel money was gone. And I have 3 jobs, and I took a bus. And my career starts with you. And if you'll let me learn every aspect of what you do, I'd really appreciate it, because I didn't get to go to film school. I couldn't afford it. And he let me. And you're going to see my work in my World War II movie.
Yes. And critics have acclaimed that Jackie Brown was his best film. And if you've seen Quentin Tarantino's work, I would agree with that. Jackie Brown was amazing.
Well, it played yesterday, and I couldn't go to the store. But when I watch Jackie Brown, I can see the mastery. And when I worked with him, and when we did the scene with Ordell, when he comes to the apartment to kill, Jackie.
That's my favorite scene. I was telling my husband that today.
I wonder why. Was it the gun between his legs?
No, it was a take your hands off my neck. That was that part.
Yeah. And that way I learned how to say the N word really perfectly for him.
Yes, you did.
He said, perfect. You need to say it better than I do. I said, I can't.
It was perfect.
I can't. Exorcist's going to come out my head. So, how Quentin, just the rehearsal process with him. If you're a filmmaker, you have to rehearse the beats of your actor. Everyone has it, like when you shoot a gun, you're supposed to breathe, stop, fire. You can't breathe and shoot, you're going to miss and hit everybody. So, same way with filmmaking. Everyone has a different beat and breathing. We're all so uniquely different. So he said, okay, Pam, I'm going to sit in this chair and I want to see you take, he's going to, and this is a 15-minute scene and I don't want to break it up. So when he comes in the door, Ordell, you're supposed to take him into the kitchen, go to the refrigerator, get the orange juice and the ice out, put it back on the corner, and then give him the drink. And and I said, no, you're not asking me the right questions. I walk over to my purse and I get a cigarette out and the lighter, and that's the gun. Max Cherry's gun is in my purse. So he said, I don't want to see you take the gun out the purse. And light your cigarette and turn around, and the gun is in your hand. What are you high on? What?
But you did it.
You know how long? It took me 4 hours.
But you did it.
We had to rehearse that scene for hours.
Well, practice makes Not perfect, but it makes it real good.
But that's how he works. He said, I got all day. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, you got all day.
All right, hold on. What's your question, ma'am?
All right, Miss Pam, so you have many talents. And one of your talents, I understand, you said you sung in church. And you sung with Bobby Womack?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I can understand
I can understand it,
Uh-huh.
baby.
Yeah,
I can understand it.
Yeah. How was it?
Whoa,
how old
whoa,
were you then?
yeah. I can understand it. You know, he was one of the Falcons.
Ah. Okay.
And he sang with backup for Sam Cooke.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, I was wondering how old you were and how was it like working with Bobby
I was 14, 15, 16, 17, and I played Hammond B3 organ, gospel songs, a lot of James Cleveland. You know, Kiss the Hem of His Garment, O Ship of Zion, Listen to the Lambs, and Haywood Hobbs, a couple of the choir masters in Denver wrote those songs, and I would sing and do harmony, and I could also play drums. I used to play on my grandfather's drums that was in the basement, and his bass guitar, but there's some gospel songs, you know, when you have the 5 blind boys, you have, oh my gosh, there's so many groups, Nesbitt, there's just, my mind is like this, songs that you grew up with. And whether you sang them at a funeral every week or every service, it was communal. You know, it was something, it was so beautiful, the harmonies, and I learned music even more at church. You know, because you had musicians, and I've asked musicians to go to parks in the summers with their, you know, college students and play and watch the people gravitate, and it'll inspire people to play guitar or sing or join in, and it becomes kind of a real church,
right,
if you will. Music is church to me. And I got to sing different parts. I got to play instruments, and I just thought that was something that I could go to, and I sang songs that some of the boys sang, and some of the boys sang songs that some of the girls sang. And so there was this wonderful, not gender, but it was just melodic music that would fill the air. And I would go, we would just go home and we would go to different churches. And you know, we did talk about it, what was on it, 60 Minutes just the other day, regarding, back in the day, people would go to each other's churches. White churches would come to black churches and listen to the music and stay and love the music and pass that place several times, okay? And blacks, congregations and choirs would go to white churches and go to Jewish, you know, synagogues. And we'd see the men sit on one side and the women sit on the other, and we understood that. But we'd sing our asses off in the church, you know? And then there was that, and that happened in the 70s. 60s and 70s. They don't, as they said, they didn't do it now. They wish they did it more today. I just saw it on the news. Did any of y'all see it? I think it was on NBC or CBS or one of the shows. Yeah, I saw that maybe. And I just thought they shouldn't forget that. They should have that type of fellowship and sing for each other. Whether you can keep time or not. You know,
yeah.
But you're going to feel it. Let me tell you, they feel it. They feel
music,
the spirit.
Music
Gospel is gospel.
Language. Music is a universal language.
Yeah, gospel is gospel. Oh, and I did get to go to, thank you, Subaru, when we went to Mother Emanuel in South Carolina, where they had the shooting, the 9, at the church. It is holy ground, and I went there and I started singing. Kiss the hem of your garment. Have any of you know that song? It's like one of the songs that we all had to sing. All the kids sang when you see a little 8-year-old singing the song. There was a woman in the Bible days who had been sick for so many ways. You know, she heard about Jesus coming by. You know, she cried, oh, Lord. Oh, oh, Lord. Oh, 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 Lord. Can I kiss the hem of your garment? And I know I'll be made whole right now.
Thank you.
We have one last question.
And yes, religious is romantic. It doesn't stick with many of us modern people. We understand. We're all Buddhists. We understand it. And vegans and vegetarians. However, that I grew up with my family. And now today in Denver, you'll see multiracial. Everyone singing. Singing the same songs that we sang.
Okay. Well, let's get one
Peace
more
Be
question,
Still.
and we can
Peace Be
sing
Still is
together.
one of them.
That's a great one. Peace
That's
Be
James
Still.
Cleveland.
I
And you know
know.
Mick
I
Jagger
know
used
that
to go
is.
to his church all the time in Compton. I saw him. I saw him playing the
He took
tambourine.
a lot of his songs from the Beatles.
And
did.
Billy Preston. I saw him. I wanted to sing with him.
All right, go.
But I was
What's
too
your
poor.
question?
Good evening, Wilmington Library. I'm just saying, thank you, Wilmington Library, for bringing a living legend here.
Yes.
But how would you put it? Like you're like so iconic. Like how would you like tell somebody like in your shoes? Like how would you? I don't know how to put it.
If someone is considered iconic, it's their perspective, and it's a wonderful, honor, because you have to earn it. I don't know what I've earned, but I stay busy, and people constantly, and it moves me. It moves me when people say, you're an icon, look what you do, and then you're down to earth. Yes. And then and I see you at Home Depot. Everybody know my name. I know how to change tires, run a chainsaw, and the young brother say, hey, but you got guns. I said, don't worry about my guns, worry about my chainsaw, baby. Okay. You mess with me, see some lipstick on you, you better be wearing it.
We're done. Okay.
And add something to it. Hey, Jamar, I see you over there. But yeah, but come on. But literally, it's an honor when someone gives me that. And then I don't know if I can live up to it.
Well, it has been an honor to
Ladies
talk
and gentlemen,
with you, Ms. Grier.
Miss Dr. Pam
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. So we ask that you take your seats, and we're going to escort our lovely ladies off the stage. And thank you all for coming. Come on, let's go ahead.
You're going to get bum rushed.
I just want a picture, please.
If you start
I'm sorry for we are still in a pandemic, so unfortunately we're not going to do pictures this evening. Possibly we can do one selfie with the crowd, and then we'll ask you guys to remain seated. Okay? Got it. Okay, cool. There you go.
Yay! Hey, off the stage.
It'll collapse. It'll be a Travis Scott situation here.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so we ask you guys to remain in your seats. Thank you so much for coming. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram to check out new programs coming up. Have a good night.